You are unique, not because of anything you do or produce, but because you exist in a way no one ever has or will again. The world is appearing in you in a way that doesn't just make for another finite piece of the whole. Though you are in some sense finite, you are infinite in your depth, relating uniquely to everything else in existence. So what happens when someone asks you to behave in a way that forsakes that uniqueness? When you're asked to act as though you are another cog in the machine, another smoothed over, largely replaceable member of society? What happens when others can't see the depth you know you and they possess? When some of us become aware that we have an image, a way that others see and value us, that uniqueness becomes a major focus. We know even then that we are something special, but those around us often fail to see or honor that. And beyond people failing to notice, the world itself often seems out of whack with our truly precious identities. Those with this focus are the grievers, practitioners of melancholy, a fixation on all the ways the world fails to reflect one's unique identity, and on what is lost by refusing to compromise that identity for the sake of participation. To the griever, things in this world never seem to rise to the level of depth and profundity that they know is part of who they are. This becomes apparent in every disappointment, every moment of disgust triggered by the world's ugliness and depravity, and every time someone fails to understand them. This world just doesn't seem to be for them in any real way. Their fear is that the world and its demands for compromise seek to strip them of their uniqueness, their depth, the value that only they hold. This thing they hold so dear seems subject to defilement, and melancholy is meant to keep them away from those threats. When this is one's focus, the resultant passion or sin is envy, a persistent emotional sense of frustration and lack, rooted in the belief that the world will never have a place for their authentic self without requiring self-betrayal. Melancholy is a relatively rare strategy. Deceit and our upcoming strategy are, together, far more common. For the deceiver, previously discussed, some level of self-betrayal is the norm, as they've convinced themselves that they are the mask they wear, and that they can and should become whatever they need to be to find success. Identity compromise is the norm in our society for this reason. Just do your job. What's the big deal? Stop being entitled. The focus is on action, productivity, outcome. But are we just tools in the process? What if our actions don't reflect our identity, or actively go against it? Is sacrificing our unique vantage such a small matter? What's lost when we decide to do so? This is only scratching the surface of the griever's attitude. No one is more sensitive to the loss of that compromise and the sense of betrayal that comes with it. When the world is constantly asking them to be something they're not, it feels like their very existence is under threat. But grievers are also well aware of what's missed out on because of their self-loyalty. For their lack of compromise, grievers often have a hard time functioning in society. They do their best to stick with what feels authentic, even if it gets them nowhere. The strategy can easily lead to a lack of friends, employment, and resources. And such actions, rather than leading to a fulfilling life, often end up reinforcing their envy, the sense that this world just isn't for them. All of those trials generally result in a negative, defensive posture, as they often have the sense of people demanding things of them without any real concern for who they are or what's really going on in the world. Grievers often lead with no, and may add some harsh words to boot, assuming the world's offerings will be less than satisfying and largely missing the point. Nonetheless, grievers still have some living hope that there's something here for them, and are constantly trying to craft the environment, relationship, self-expression, or philosophy that truly fits them. But finding the shortcomings in all these is second nature, so the trials continue. What melancholy replaces as a defense of value is holy origin, the understanding that their uniqueness is not one object among many that can be marred or defiled by other objects. Rather, that uniqueness is an inherent piece of reality itself, untouched by anything in this world. There's a reason we can find flaws in everything, ways that this or that doesn't quite fit us. It's because our true identities are rooted in infinite source, rooted in the divine qualities beyond the world of form, rather than form itself. Holy origin tells us that this or that object may not be deep or profound in itself, but it is an expression of the depth sourced in reality. When we have holy origin's perspective, equanimity can replace envy. One can feel a deep acceptance of the world, even when it doesn't accord with our preferences. We can feel this acceptance because we know that our unique identities are secure, even among mixture. I'll explain holy origin and equanimity more in the series' next video. For those who may not make ample use of melancholy, it's likely the tendency to compromise that's the bigger issue. Take this as an opportunity to ask, what value is lost when I'm not being myself? And does it have to be? For all of you, either now or later, it's useful to consider that you might be melancholic.